The package man is here. The package man is here. That means I'm one step closer to hitting the road. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. I am hoping this fits in my van. I know exactly what has arrived, and it's something that's going to make my travels a lot better, but it's also something that I have to figure out if it actually fits in the van, and if it doesn't, I'm going to be so disappointed. So disappointed. Let's go see. Okay. Here it is. And don't worry, all of this is going to be taken down before I leave Texas. I just really miss this throughout the rest of the year, so I leave up my Christmas a little bit longer than I probably should. But that's okay. This though, is this going to fit? Is this going to fit? It looks a little bit big, and that is going to be so sad, because if it is too big, it will not fit physically in the van. That is the bad thing about having a tiny, tiny van. So I'm about to grab some scissors, cut into this thing, and see if there's a lot of packaging, and I'm hoping that it's just surrounded by a ton of packaging. Okay, let's get this started by taking the tape off. Okay, this is my biggest fear. This is actually the entire size of this. So now I have to figure out, is it going to fit? Well, it definitely won't fit in the upright, like standing up, because it's bigger than the van. And it's not gonna fit in the roof box because it's longer than the roof box. Okay, this might be a miss. So you're probably thinking, but what is it? What is it, Bunny? It was a tent. It was a tent that I was attempting to get. It's a pop-up tent. It is a bit large. I was reading the description, and I was under the impression that it came in a smaller thing and then popped up and then popped out. But in fact, it is quite large. It is too large. This is not going to work. I am going to show you guys what it should look like. Isn't it cool? I really like this. However, with as rapid as I move and as much movement as I do, this would drive me insane if it's inside the van, and I'd have to put it outside every night. And I don't want to leave a whole bunch of stuff out every night just to function, especially considering that for this trip I'm going to be probably deadheading to a destination and stopping off at a truck stop, and I can't physically make my bed out if this is in there. So back to the drawing board. As you can see though, it looks really cool. So this is the Kabizi, and yeah, I will use this in the future, just not yet. No, that's one of the things that I've learned here on the channel, is that sometimes things work out and sometimes they don't, and it is okay either way. Sometimes you just have to pivot, and this is a pivot moment. So the plans that I had for this tent, I'm now gonna have to reimagine into either something smaller, or I'm just gonna have to be like, okay, it's not gonna work out. Reframe the mind time. Okay, so what do I do now? The pivot. What is the pivot going to look like? I don't know. I have no idea. I put all my eggs in one basket on this one, hoping for the best. So, I need to come up with another kind of shade structure. And I was originally trying to get something that was a tent, because Riley and I both were going to use it. I have an awning on my van, which I can use, but it's very small. I did that by design so that it would be easier for just like me, but there's not a ton of room under there for like a lot of people. The tent was going to be a 12 by 12 pop-up, and so it was going to be nice for having a nice interior space where we could set up and kind of be out of the elements for cooking and things like that. So, is there a way that I could fashion my awning to maybe make it work by like adding a tapestry or something? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe adding a tarp. I kind of wanted something that could breathe a little bit, so the tarp keeps that from happening. So I'm going to see if I have a tapestry here. If I do, then I'm going to test it out to see if that works. And maybe that will be the solution. I'm not sure. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, what about the carousel? Is the carousel an option? I wish it was. I managed to damage it. It was a me issue. Go figure. I damaged it, and I'm trying to get it fixed. However, that hasn't happened yet, and it's not going to happen before I leave. So instead, I'm turning to other options, and I think somewhere I have a cloth that I could use. I just don't know where I put it. Okay. I came out to the van, and I was kind of assessing some other things that I need to do. I talked to Riley. Riley and I are trying to figure out a solution for this tent because it is just such a bummer that it's so big, because it's so awesome. Like, the space that it would allow is crazy. Also though, the fact is there's just not room. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pivot for now. I am going to see if I can't find that tapestry for the next couple days. If I can't, it's okay. I'll just use my awning and we'll figure it out. That's kind of how it just goes sometimes. Starting off strong with this project. This is the easiest project on the list. Somebody asked me on my last trip why I collect patches, and I've kind of talked about this before, but there's always revisiting of the subject so you guys can better understand. In my tiny space, I have about 35 square feet of living space in the back. That means there's not a lot of room for all the extra cool stuff. So instead of collecting like shot glasses or mugs or shirts or things like that, I like to have something that's a little bit more tangible, but also doesn't take up room. This empty space above my head here, it was just the headliner. It was kind of boring. It was brown. It didn't really express my personality at all. And so I found that patches could do that. And patches are usually a lesser expensive item to collect also. Now, this particular patch has a staple stuck in it, so this is going to take me a minute, but usually patches are anywhere between $2.99 and $10, depending on where you're at, what size they are, if they're collectible, if they're just regular. And so this has been a more economical way for me to collect something from the really unique places that I've been. Now, with that said, it's still an expense that you don't have to have on the road, but it's something that I personally enjoy doing. And then once I get it as filled up as I can, I then take those and I transport them to a patch wall that is inside my base camp on my wall of wonder, which is all of the cool places that I've been, pictures, memorabilia, things like that, that don't need to be in the van, basically. Now, the nice thing is this is so easy to do because I just get this Velcro that has a sticky side, and I pull the sticky side off of it from the back, and then I'm able to put it onto the patch directly. And whenever I do that, it just adheres to it and kind of like makes it where I can use it in a variety of different applications that I might not have been able to before. So it goes from this to basically this. So you can see it right there. And then I have one more that's already cut for this part, and then it just adheres to the ceiling. I push it in really, really good, and that way it stays up there. Now, if I'm in extreme heat, these things start to sag. They start to pull away from the adhesive, and there's nothing I can really do about that. So when it gets super, super hot, if I'm gonna have to be parked for a long time, I just expect to have to come out and like tap them back into place, or take them out of the van and move on to that patch board. It's like a big patchwork quilt of my adventures. Then whenever I'm finished, it just goes back into this little guy right here, which is my container that I keep my utensils and things in, and it zips up. You know how I said I had the seat in? Well, I have the seat in, and I also have a lot of extra stuff in the van. My mom retired. I've been helping her bring home her things, and so the van's been great for that. At the same time, the van is looking more like a cargo van at this moment than it is a travel van at this moment. You're probably thinking, Bunny, I thought you said you had to get out of here in like a couple days. I do, which is why I'm working so hard on everything right now. Oh my gosh, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but I'm so happy I was able to come home and be around my family for the holiday season, and then travel with my dad, and then come back, help my mom load up her school stuff, and now hit the road. You know, a lot of people out there have commented that they don't think that they could ever move full-time into a van, and I would never tell you to do that. I absolutely would not. I thoroughly enjoy the fact that I have a base camp and then I travel. That is the best thing ever. I travel about 75% of the year, and most of the times that I am home have to do with things like what I just mentioned. Being able to be here for family during times that I need to be here, being here for the holidays, being here for important things when it comes to my van itself. For example, we all know every August I have to return to Texas to get my tag. I have a base camp, so it makes it a lot easier in August being in Texas with a base camp. It just does. So yeah, if you're out there and you think, oh, I could never do what you do, you totally can. You totally can, because a lot of people want to think that the only way that you can van life is if you are full-time. But I have met hundreds upon hundreds of nomads who travel for seasons. They might travel for 6 months at a time to get away from the extreme warmth or the extreme cold. And then they go back to their homes. They may travel for just their 2 weeks that they have for vacation from work. Or they may just be a weekend warrior who's out there just trying to live their life more fully. Any of those are acceptable ways to get into a van and cruise on down the road. So, with that said, I'm feeling much better after completing something and not feeling like I'm overwhelmed by the other task now. I got some stuff to do though, so let's keep going. First things first, I'm going to put away the things that are in the van, including this painting, which I'm going to be hanging in my bathroom. This is a painting that I did a while back. My mom's had it on display at the school for a while. I just wanted to add it to my bathroom for a little touch of color. It kind of matches some of the colors that I've selected for that room. You know, one of my favorite movies growing up was The Richest Cat in the World. And if you've never seen that, it was just a movie that was on Disney. It's about this cat who basically inherits millions and he can talk, which I think is wild in itself. But at the same time, there's a point to this, I promise. One of the things that was said in that movie has stuck with me since I was a child. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's very, very hard. And so instead of worrying about, oh my gosh, I haven't got everything done, I'm not ready yet, I'm just taking it one step at a time and getting there. Ultimately, it is not about how fast we get to the destination, it is that we get to the destination. So, taking my time, taking a breath, not stressing out, unloading the van. On my way to the store to pick up a few things, and oh my goodness, it is beautiful outside, but it is so cold. Just for reference, the heat has been on for a while, and it's only 58 degrees in the cab. Currently it is 39 degrees, 27 mile per hour winds, wind chill of 17 degrees. It is cold. It is icy feeling. And why am I going to the store in the icy feeling? Because it's only supposed to get worse this week. So I thought this was the best day for me to possibly at least go and handle this. I'm supposed to be rolling out in like a couple days. And I don't know if I'm going to get to because we're supposed to get snow. Here we are at the good old Walmarto, and I'm going to go ahead and pull in and get some things and possibly get some gas while I'm here too. The pumps are all currently full, so I will try to do that after I get my stuff. I just need to survive a couple more days at base camp, and with it being so cold, I was thinking, I would like some soup possibly. Okay, I got some parking, and let me tell you, I was not expecting my week to go this way. Nope. I just kept watching and watching and watching the news, and as I was watching, I kept noticing that they were saying, hey, part of North Texas might get hit by some cold weather. And then I started watching it come down slowly, and it was like kind of just hanging out in Kansas and Missouri, and I was like, that doesn't look so good. And then they said, oh, by the end of the week, that's going to just drop on down into North Texas. And it started out with like a 20% chance of possible precipitation. That's usually not that big of a deal because 20% usually doesn't end up hitting us. It just doesn't. And so I was like, okay, there's still hope. Cool. And then I started noticing that they were talking about the Panhandle might get some snow. Now that's a very typical place for them to get snow and bad weather. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I was originally going to go 287 to 40 and go the normal way out of Texas because that's the fastest route for me to go. That's not going to be an option if it's snowing in the Panhandle. It's just not. So I started to like look around a little bit and think, okay, I'll just drop my path down just a little bit. And then they raised the chances, 30%, 50%. Now it is at 70%. There is a 70% chance that I will have some form of nasty precipitation somewhere within the next 3 days. And ideally, I was planning on hopping up out of here toward the end of the week. Yeah, if it's like that, I'm not going to be able to go anywhere until the frozen tundra of Texas defrosts just a little bit, simply because we are not designed for that kind of weather. For those of you who have not ever been to Texas, whenever the weather has just taken a turn, I don't recommend it. Infrastructure-wise, we're just not cut out for that. There aren't enough vehicles to make sure that the roadways stay safe. It's just kind of weird that we're not more prepared for this, considering it's becoming more and more, but It just isn't. So what does that look like for me right now? It looks like me going into this Walmart and seeing if I can solve a couple problems in the van, so at least I can get a little bit closer to the goal. I don't know. I just don't know. Whenever I opened up that package and it was way too big, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to use that. So maybe I go inside and look to see if there's any good tent options. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not completely sold on the fact that I have to have something, but at the same time, it would be nice. In the meantime, I feel like currently I am riding a roller coaster while sitting still in the Walmart parking lot because the wind is so extreme that it's just like this. You guys can't really feel that, but it's there and it's wild. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna try to troubleshoot. I'm gonna get some soup to stay warm over the next couple days, and I may put a couple other things back in the back in my dry area. I have gone through and taken a good inventory, so I kind of know where there's some gaps in what I need. So buckle up, Buttercup. It's time to go inside. Okay, I'm changing out a few things in the van, and so this is going to help me. I needed to find something that had a good color scheme, though, that matched the things that are already in there. So I found this sage color and this like khaki, and I needed to replace my body pillow. It's still good, it just doesn't fit as well in there, so this is my new option. Do I need some of these? Maybe. Oh my gosh, it's cold. If it wasn't windy, it wouldn't feel so bad, but oh, that was insane. Also, I was able to solve several issues and get some extra food for my base camp because I'm definitely gonna be there for a few days. I'm feeling optimistic though. I was able to solve all the issues. I have one package that will be coming in from Amazon to finish solving the issues. So that should make packing up the van a little bit easier, even despite this, ooh, we shall say frigid condition. Yes. Okay, I think I'm gonna go get some gas and then head back to my base camp and try to like batten down the hatches because everything is like blowing around. I just saw a shopping cart go rogue and it made it all the way across the parking lot before it slammed into somebody's vehicle. There was no way anybody could catch it. It was flying. Man. It's just brutal today. Okay, it looks like gas is $2.59 a gallon over here, so I'll fill her on up. Oh, that's new. It's so cold that the everything is just turned off and it's just showing that it is cold. Oh, there we go. It finally engaged again. Now I figured that by getting gas now, this will solve me having to get it in a few days whenever it's even more brutally cold and just as windy. So while I'm already out and about, I'll just handle business. That's the best thing I can do right now. Also, I'm trying to figure out when it would be best to sit in the van and just close the doors and start putting things together. Maybe tomorrow because it's not supposed to be quite as windy. Maybe, we'll see, we'll see. I need to change out a few things that are in the van that require me to get up on the roof, and I definitely can't do that while it's this windy. The roof box will just slam on me. That's not fun. Oh my gosh. 2011. Wow. That was insane. Man, that was painfully insane. My hands, just from being out there in that short time, frozen. I'm gonna have to find my gloves. Transformers, let's roll out. Whew, the positive is we are finished with that. And I don't plan on going anywhere else until I actually depart my base camp. I'm hoping to just stay there, stay away from people, stay away from sickness, and make sure that I am good. Because it is one of those things that during this time of year, everybody's starting to get sick anyway, but especially when the weather just rapidly changes. I just tried to avoid people as much as I could in the Walmart. It was really hard, but you know, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna wash my hands real good, and then I'm just gonna do preventative care. But again, we gotta go through it to get to it. So this is gonna be a windy drive back to base camp. And then maybe, just maybe, at some point this evening, it'll let up a little bit so I can work on the van some more. And if not, then tomorrow I'll definitely be in here. I need to get my batteries charged up, and I need to make sure that I've changed out the pillows. And I have that other package that'll come in that'll solve some of my storage issues for my more bulky items. And so that should be kind of cool, but that won't be here for a couple days. So realistically, if I can just get myself across the finish line of getting these few things finished, and then maybe I could go ahead and pull out the clothes that I want to put in the van. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm home. I am cozy. I am safe. And now is the hard part of figuring out how I'm going to manage all of these different tasks that I need to complete before I head out, while also managing the crazy cold. It's not going to get much warmer until I leave. So I'm going to go ahead and start researching my path to see what might be the safest route for me to go and what that is going to look like time-wise, so I can plan to get to my destination. I have a few things that I've already scheduled. I'm going to be meeting up with some friends. I'm also going to be taking a couple things to some friends. When everyone left from Vanmas, there were a few things that got left at my base camp, so I need to load those up and put them in the van to return them. But also, I'm going to be taking a solar panel out to my friends Charles and Tony because they needed a portable panel, and so I have one to give. So I need to make sure that is in the van. Yeah. So other than that, I'm waiting on a package. I'm waiting on a couple projects to kind of be able to be done because the weather. And I think that today I've got lots of inside things that I can work on. So yeah, I'm going to have a couple product reviews that I share with you guys on the road because I want to use them in places that kind of make sense for me to use them versus just setting them up at base camp. So I need to put those in the van. And also, now that I've gotten some of my groceries for the road, I need to see if there's anything else that I'm lacking that I can pick up on the way out. But remember, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. This has been kind of a weird day, but the weather's weird, so that's just kind of part of it. I'm really hoping it's not that weird while I'm traveling, because that's not going to be fun. But I think I am going to pack an extra heating blanket just in case. Yeah, I have 2 of them. I can sleep on one and under one and be like a little cozy taco if worst case scenario happens. So, to be determined on that one. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but we will find out tomorrow. Bye.